The members of Alpha 2 will be presenting on air pollution. Air pollution can be defined as the release of pollutants into the air that are detrimental to human health and the planet as a whole. The Clean Air Act authorizes the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, to protect public health by regulating the emissions of these harmful air pollutants. The NRDC has been a leading authority on this law since it was established in 1970. Air pollution kills an estimated 7 million people worldwide every year. 9 out of 10 people breathe air that exceeds WHO guideline limits containing high levels of pollutants, with low and middle income countries suffering from the highest exposures. From smog hanging over cities to smoke inside the home, air pollution poses a major threat to health and climate. The combined effects of ambient and household air pollution cause about 7 million premature deaths every year, largely as a result of increased mortality from stroke, heart disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, lung cancer, and acute respiratory infections. As we can see in this chart, air pollution, both outdoor and indoor, gives us 4.9 million number of deaths in the world in 2017.
Okay, so I am here to talk about the causes and effects of air pollution. So there are many causes of air pollution, firstly beginning with the burning of fossil fuels. So we combust or consume fossil fuels on a daily basis through power plants, factories, energy generation, and even when we start our car in the morning or using public transportation. So the nitric oxides, the nitrogen dioxides, carbon monoxides, hydrogen sulfates, and all sorts of different organic compounds which are produced from the combustion of fossil fuels aids in the cause of air pollution. Another factor would be that of agricultural use. So ammonia, which is used very commonly in agricultural related products, so in insecticides, pesticides, fertilizers, also in the burning of fields and crops when they are clearing the land for new fertilization and stuff like that. Some other factors would be waste in landfill. So when the waste is decomposing, the methane that is produced, which is a major greenhouse gas, it is highly flammable and is very hazardous. Another would be poor e-waste, which is how we dispose of our electronics. So our computers, televisions, wires, light bulbs, lighting fixtures, anything electronic related, when those things are disposed of, and if they are burnt via disposal, they can let off harmful chemicals and gases into the environment. Another factor would be the exhaust from factories and industries, and also petroleum refineries, which I would have mentioned earlier. Mining operations, so the harmful dust and chemicals that are produced during mining. Indoor pollution, such as when we are cleaning and we are using cleaning detergents, sprays, chemicals that we would add to the water to mop with, and stuff like that. Suspended particles such as dust, the Sahara dust, which we are experiencing right now, all aids in air pollution. And of course, we have natural events such as volcanoes, forest fires, and of course dust, which again are natural born air pollutants. So now we will talk about some of the effects of air pollutions. So air pollution can lead to respiratory and heart problems. So some respiratory problems are asthma, chronic bronchitis, emphysema, and some other heart defects are heart attacks, strokes, and this can also lead to the buildup of cancer cells in the body. Another effect would be child health problems, children health problems with children. So exposure to high amounts of air pollution or toxic air during a woman's pregnancy can lead to miscarriages and also can lead to birth defects such as asthma and uh, spectrum disorders in young kids. It also has the potential to damage early brain development in a child and cause pneumonia that kills almost millions of children below the age of 5. Another effect, of course, would be that of global warming. So we all know about the hole in the ozone layer, and the increase in temperature will ride the increase in sea levels, and of course, the melting of the polar ice caps is a contribution and effect of rising temperatures and increase in sea level. So all of this contributes to global warming. Another effect would be acid rain, which is when the rain falls, all of the harmful chemicals, the toxic acids such as nitrogen oxide, sulfur oxides, they all mix with the water that is falling, and then that turns into acid rain. And when that falls, it can be harmful to humans, animals, crops, properties such as a car. Another factor would be eutrophication. This is a high amount of nitrogen present in some pollutants gets developed on the sea surface and turns itself into algae and adversely affects fish, plants, and animal species. Some effects would be on wildlife. So with the burning of crops or land spaces, certain animal groups are forced to leave their home and migrate, if you want to use that word, to a different habitat or a different space. And the burning of the crops can also produce toxic gases in the air that can affect the animals and cause them to die, or they can get stuck in the fire and die because of that as well. And lastly, the depletion of the ozone layer. So due to the presence of chlorofluorocarbons or CFCs, hydrofluorocarbons or HFCs in the atmosphere, the ozone layer is depleted. As a result, the UV rays emitted on the earth can cause skin and eye related problems such as skin cancer, and can also have the capability to affect crops and wildlife.
Hi, my name is Brian Cabrera, and I'll be doing global actions and the actions taken by Trinidad and Tobago to combat air pollution. So first up, we have the Kyoto Protocol, which operationalizes the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change by committing industrialized countries and economies in transition to limit and reduce greenhouse gases emissions in accordance with agreed individual targets. So a very objective way of attacking air pollution. Similarly, we have Paris Agreement, which is a legally binding international treaty on climate change. Its goal is to limit global warming to well below 2, preferably 1.5 degrees Celsius, compared to pre-industrial levels. Up next, we have the Sustainable Development Goals, which is a very holistic way of attacking air pollution. The 17 SDGs, it is a document, attacking the different social, economic, and environmental issues in the world. And here we have listed the sections in the document that target air pollution. So they contribute to SDG 3, SDG target 7.2 on access to clean energy in the home, SDG target 11.6 on air quality in cities, and SDG target 11.2 on access to sustainable transport, and SDG 13 climate action. So now we have actions taken by Trinidad and Tobago. So here we have listed the Environmental Management Act, National Environmental Policy of 2006, and the Air Pollution Rules 2014. So for the EMA, a legislation with the goal of ensuring that the protection, conservation, and enhancement and wise use of the environment of Trinidad and Tobago is met. So legislation basically binds the subscriber to the legislation to particular actions, and here we have the actions listed in order to combat air pollution. The National Environmental Policy of 2006 is a stipulation of the Environmental Management Act of 1995 and is an expression of the government's recognition of the right to enjoy life and the environment of property as enshrined under Section 4 of the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago. So again, more legislation. Then we have the Air Pollution Rules. This is again legislation developed under the Environmental Act, Chapter 35:05. Through the APR, the EMA seeks to manage the levels of specific air pollutants known to cause harm to human health and the environment, thereby improving overall air quality. So all of these are effective ways in which Trinidad and Tobago has adapted to combat the issue of air pollution. So we have some recommendations here that we can make locally. So utilize public mode of transport. This would reduce the amount of actual vehicles emitting carbon dioxide and other pollutants into the air. Carpooling as well. Better household practices. So no burning of rubbish at home and such. Conservation of energy, using greener sources, LED lights, more efficient technology, reduce, recycle, right? Utilize clean energy sources such as solar, wind, geothermal, hydroelectric. Utilize energy efficient devices, LEDs, solar powered water heaters. Implementation of carbon capture and storage in industrial plants, refineries, and filters for other toxic emissions. And lastly, incentives for clean energy resources and energy efficient devices. So this is on the government side. These incentives would have to come from the government side. So in conclusion, we have stated that air pollution is a major environmental risk to health. By implementing the recommendations, air pollution can definitely be reduced. Reducing air pollution results in a better and cleaner environment, along with better human health. Now, this is extremely possible for some parts of Trinidad because the world has already reduced air pollution by negative 68%, right? Which is a very large number since early stages of the industrialized period. So we have done great thus far. Here are our references, and thank you for enjoying our presentation.